Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Once again, happy morning, happy evening, everyone. A very, very warm welcome to our special workshop on the topic of flourishing with compassion. Yes, today's topic, as I just said, is very, very special because it is about selflessness. And many of us, when we start the spiritual journey, right, we have this question in us, right? Even today in the previous session, there was a question about, right, okay, when we become so humble, are we letting other people to take advantage of us? When we become selfless, does that mean that we are compromising? We are letting other people take the, take the most of us, if I'm not wrong. So today's topic is very, very special in that way because we are going to first understand what is selflessness, why is it important, what is true selflessness, and when we are also going to look at some of the worldly examples and try to understand from them as to what is this value. So before we go forward, I wanted to check if anyone would remember what was our last workshop's topic, and if anyone could share their key takeaway or something that they tried to implement from last workshop that they felt they were able to implement or they, got the most of it. So if anyone would like to please raise your hand and share your experience, that will be great. Do you all remember the topic for the last workshop? Oh, wow, Lakshmi Priya ji, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe. Oh, I see
Radhe Radhe,
a few hands up. Go ahead.
Last week's topic is about fearlessness.
Yes.
And most of our fears come from our past lives and also the present situations. Sometimes the situations we have faced or something like that also creates fears in us. And to overcome this, I think the best thing is to leave everything in the hands of God. And the source, the source of this fear is mostly attachment. When we are attached to something, we have fear. We have a fear of losing that. So fear is a basic emotions. When we have faith, then we can overcome this fear. For this, it's given 4 points are given. There's a leave the results in the hands of the God. Put your best efforts and leave the results to God. Detach yourself from desire. Develop faith and surrender to God. Radhe Radhe.
Beautiful. Very nice, Lakshmi Priya ji. Very nicely you summarized. Yes, we learned about fearlessness. We also understood that when fear is just a symptom, the root cause of fear is attachment. So if you could go deep within and understand what is your attachment and try to break that attachment, you will be able to overcome your fear. And we also talked about how we need to understand God's plan and surrender to His will, and He will take care of it. So don't have any desire. When you have an attachment, that means you do have a desire. So if you let go of your desire, then your attachment also drops, and then you will be able to become fearless. Thank you so much for sharing that. Lakshmi Priyaji. So now we will move on to our topic of selflessness. As I said, the first and foremost, we are going to watch a video from Swamiji, of course. And that is going, I mean, in that video, we have actually, if time permits, we will try to cover 3 videos of Swamiji, not like big, big ones, small, small ones. And I think that will talk about, uh, that will help us go into a lot of depth into this topic. But of course, because this is a workshop, there will be some, we'll have a lot of interaction, there'll be some activity that we'll do together. And also we'll talk about practical steps we can do to face the world being selfless. So with that, I think let's get ready and watch our first video. Let's get into the first video. And this video is going to talk about the true meaning of selfless love. That's the first video. So let's watch that.
Sacrifice is extremely glorified in our Vedic culture. How did you raise your children? By sacrificing for them. How did you become a graduate, postgraduate? By sacrificing your time. So sacrifice is the secret of progressing in virtue. Everybody who is doing sacrifice is getting purified. Some believe tremendously in offering their wealth as sacrifice. The founder of the Methodist Church, John Wesley, had said, "Earn as much as you can and give as much as you can." There is no harm in earning if you do it as a means of giving. Earlier, before I came to Maharajji, I was in Bombay. I was managing a temple there. And Arvind Mafatlal was connected with that temple. Arvind Mafatlal, some of you may be knowing, he was of the Mafatlal group, one of the big industrial houses in India. So there I came to know of this astonishing soul. He was managing a huge empire, the entire Mafatlal Industries, and yet he was full of devotion. Every day after waking up, he would go to his puja room, and nobody could reach him there, absolutely nobody. He did not care whether the company is going up or down or anything. Those 2 hours are for God. He was responsible for getting the Ramayana on TV, right? So he had such love for Ram that if you say Ram before him, his body used to start shaking. He was the disciple of a big guru of Gujarat called Ranchhodji Maharaj. He used to do charity all over India without telling anybody, quietly. There was no name, nothing. He was running 10,000 eye operations in Chitrakoot. No publicity of any kind. Even today you go to Chitrakoot, you won't find his name anywhere. So, what was his belief? When he was a college student, he ran away from home and went to his guru and said, "I want to take sannyas." Guruji, seeing his background, he's coming from a big industrial house, said, no, 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 no. You don't take sannyas, you do your worldly duty. So while doing his worldly duty, he just saw that this is a way of bhakti. Let me earn all I can and let me give all I can. That is the motivation behind Warren Buffett. He still lives in a 4-bedroom house. You know, sometimes as I travel around, I have been to our Indians. Once there was an Indian I went to. Oof! 20 bedrooms? Husband and wife only. And they've got a 20-bedroom house. And they are so scared. I don't know what they are scared of, but in every room now they've installed Radha Krishna as an insurance policy. So look at Warren Buffett. After earning so much, he's still living in his 4 or 5-bedroom house. That earning is his way of bhakti. Earn all you can and give all you can. From the point of view of God, He doesn't see how much you have given. He sees what percentage have you given, what austerity have you undertaken. When the BHU was being made in Kashi, Banaras Hindu University, so Madan Mohan Malviya, now this was in the time of Britishers, so it was the first Hindu university being made. He went around doing fundraising. And one rickshaw puller, he gave 12 annas, that is 3/4 of a rupee. So in the board of donors, his name came. Now somebody say he only gave 12 annas. Madan Mohan Malviya said he gave his 3 days income. He used to earn 25 paise every day. So he gave 12 annas. That means he gave his 3 full days income. That is why I put him out there. So God sees your bhav. So sacrifice is what purifies. There is the story in the Mahabharata. When Yudhishthir Maharaj was doing the Rajasuya Yagya, now he used to feed 10,000 Brahmins every day in a golden vessel, and they were to take the vessel back after that. While the Yagya was going on, one squirrel came. One side of its back was golden and the other was blank. The squirrel was repeatedly jumping on the other side. After trying 4 or 5 times, the squirrel said, JKYog, fie upon this sacrifice, and it was about to leave. Yudhishthir said, why? The squirrel is commenting on my yagya? Bhimsen lifted up his gala, I'll smash it into the ground. Lord Krishna said, ask the squirrel why it is saying JKYog, fie on this yagya. So they asked. The squirrel related its story. It seems that a few years ago it used to live outside the city of Hastinapur. There was a poor Brahman family's hut. There are different kinds of Brahmans described in the Vedas. Some are those that when the market, where the grain is bought and sold, the grain that falls on the ground, they can pick it and cook it. Some are those they can go and beg from houses and cook it, that is their vrat. And there are some, when it is cut in the field, whatever falls on the ground and it is not been picked, they'll take that and cook it. So this was that kind of Brahman family. For a few years there was a famine in that land. And because of that there was complete shortage at home. This Brahman family, the Brahman, the Brahmani, the son and the daughter-in-law, they had not eaten for a few days. Finally, they managed to get some food, and the Brahmani cooked the meal for all of them. The son was newly married, the new daughter-in-law at home. They all sat to eat. In the meantime, one Atithi, guest, arrived. He said, "Sir, I have come from very far. I am extremely hungry. Can you please give me something?" The Brahman called his wife and said, "Look, he is the guest. Our dharma is to sacrifice for him. You give him my share. I will not eat." The Brahmani gave that share to him. He ate, he thanked them, and he departed. Now, three people's portion was remaining. The three of them sat to eat, and a second traveler arrived. He said, "I have come all the way from so far. Is there anything at all you can give me?" The Brahmani said, "Let me feed my share to him." They fed her share to this traveler. He ate his meal, he thanked them, and he went from there. Now, two portions were remaining. The son and daughter-in-law, both of them were young, strong, energetic. The parents said, "Please sit and eat." The two of them were about to eat when a third traveler arrived. The son said, "If my parents can sacrifice, then why can I not sacrifice?" He said, "Please give my portion to this traveler." He was also satisfied and sent from there. Now only one portion was remaining. So the daughter-in-law was to sit and eat, and a fourth traveler arrived. The daughter-in-law said, "Look, I have to follow the tradition of the elders. You are going hungry to feed the guest. Please give my share to this guest. Atithi Devo Bhava." So when she said that and they fed the Brahman, the squirrel said, "I was watching the scene from one corner of the hut. At the sacrifice of that family,
our ability to make money is so deeply rooted in our self-worth, in our self-image, in our beliefs about how easy it is to make money and the value we give to the world. And you really strip away everything holding it back. We emerge.
the Devatas, they showered flowers from the celestial abodes. The squirrel says, "I was so happy, thrilled at what I saw. I leapt up, and when I fell down, the side on which I fell, that turned into gold. So one of my sides was gold and the other was not. I thought whenever I get a chance, I'll make the other side also gold." And then I heard the great Yudhishthir Maharaj is doing the Yagya, Rajasuya Yagya. Well, let me go and try it out. She said, "I repeatedly jumped, but nothing happened. That is why I said, Dhik Yagyam." Sri Krishna said, "Bhimsen, answer to the squirrel. You had lifted the gada, now what?" Bhimsen was without an answer. The squirrel departed. Yudhishthir said, "Maharaj, what deficiency remained in our yagya?" Sri Krishna said, "Yagya depends not on what you give, but on what is your capacity to give. You got it from here and there, from various people, and you gave it. And that poor family had nothing from that, they gave it. Your yagya cannot compare with theirs." So yagya means the sense that Sri Krishna is taking it. One is fire sacrifice, but here Sri Krishna is broadening the definition and saying yagya means sacrifice.
Okay, wasn't that an outstanding video? I already got a couple of messages asking if we can share that video. Of course, yes, absolutely. We will share the link of that video. But this is just the beginning. I think Swamiji very, very beautifully outlined or gave us an introduction to selflessness and why should one be selfless. So let's do one thing. Let's quickly revise what he taught us, and then we will, as I said, we do have a lot more lined up for today. So uh, we'll quickly get to that. So today's topic is flourish with compassion. And Swamiji highlighted the importance of sacrifice, especially in the spiritual path, right? This is sacrifice is extremely glorified in our scriptures, in our Vedas. And sacrifice, this is the secret for progressing, right? Uh, Especially as a virtue, this sacrifice is very, very important. And what is the biggest benefit of sacrifices? Uh, Whoever is sacrificing, the best part is you will be purified. I think that is the most important aspect. And then Swamiji again highlighted from the scriptures that in Padma Puran, Ved Vyasji says that the whole of creation is serving God. So our constitutional position is to serve God. In the previous session, we just talked about how uh, just like a hand serves the body, right? The hand only helps the body uh, feed, I mean, it takes the food and puts it in the mouth, through which the entire body, including the hand, gets nourished or gets the nourishment. If the hand thinks that, no, I'm going to get cut, and how many years should I serve the mouth and the body? Let me just come out of it and let me be independent. Then the second it comes out of the body, it is going to not function. So, constitutionally, we are the servants of God, but the problem is we have forgotten it. In fact, Swamiji went to the extent of saying that even the celestial devatas, right, the saints, everything, the whole nature, everything is serving him. They have a responsibility that has been assigned, and they are serving God. And if we engage in seva, then what will happen is the more we serve, slowly we will slowly our selflessness will develop, and we will let go of our self-seeking nature. Uh, so this part Swamiji highlighted in the end, right, to that beautiful story of from the Mahabharata, right, where God doesn't look at how he doesn't look at what you're giving or how much you're giving. Is looking at what percentage you are giving. I think that is the most important part. So going back to Bhagavad Gita, put in your effort, right? Your effort, that is what we need to look for. What is the austerity that you have performed? How much of uh, pain that you have tolerated, and how much are you giving? It's not like you have $1,000 and you're giving $100, or if you're having $1,000 and if you're giving $500, then obviously it is a different percentage. So what is that percentage is a question that we need to ask and make it a habit, right? We will go into this depths in a bit, but the point is, by being selfless, the most important aspect is our mind gets purified. Especially all of us, we are all out here today because we want to progress spiritually. Now, if that is our goal, and if the most important aspect of that is we need to work on purifying our mind, which means we have to develop uh, uh, this virtue of compassion, which will lead us to be selfless. And coincidentally, right, I was just, especially today while preparing for this workshop, I was going through some of the so-called, you know, successful people, for lack of better word. But if you look at every aspect of their success, right, even if you call it as like someone can be a great author, someone can be a big uh, entrepreneur, someone can be a big political leader. You really look at people who have been really, really famous, really successful, right? One thing that they have in common is compassion. In a way, it is either that compassion or that selfless nature, because they are not, their objective is not to gain the profit for the company. Their objective is not to reach out to millions and millions of people. Their objective is to serve the people. When they keep their attribute, that the core virtue as selflessness, right, giving back to serve the people, then the other material benefits in most of the cases naturally comes in. You can go back and do a lot of analysis. You can also do, I don't want to take names, but there are so many entrepreneurs. Even today, Swamiji in the video, he talked about Muffet Lal partner, right, who, like, he doesn't even have his name coming out, but he's been doing philanthropy for so long. So the question that maybe we all should ask back to ourselves is, service through money is one aspect of it, through wealth, it's definitely one aspect, or the basic level from where we need to start. But even higher than that is, our time, our skills. To whom much has been given, much is expected, right? What are we giving back? Even 5 minutes of our time, 10 minutes of our time, are we willing to give back? What selfless act are we trying to do every day? Even one selfless act in our journal, right? One selfless act. Let's start doing that. I think that will slowly, uh, help us develop this habit of becoming selfless completely. It will turn away being self-seeking. It will help us drop the self-seeking nature of us, and start getting into giving back more. So with that, what we can do is we can watch our next video quickly, and then we can get into, so then we can yeah, great. So let's watch this video and then we'll continue.
Radhe Radhe Swamiji. My question is regarding Seva. Could you please expand on the significance of Seva in our everyday life?
We begin this journey as a self-seeking. We have loved the world for our sake. And when we go towards God, it is only natural that we love God for our sake. One cannot immediately develop that selfless love which Naradji talks about. However, we understand through the intellect that true love is not selfish, it is selfless. And hence we need to reach this point where we will love God for His sake. In other words, not our happiness, but His happiness. Kripaluji Maharaj says, Prema mein hai sada dena dena, sochna bhi nahi kuch hai lena. This love is all about giving, not even thinking of taking. Lene wala bada bhola bhala, braj ke rasiko mein shamil nahi hai. One who thinks, I will take from God and Guru, that person is simple-minded. He is deceiving himself. If you just give, you will get infinitely more in return. So that is why we need to lift our devotion to that point, that we are endowed with the desire to give. The expression of our love, of our devotion is to serve, the seva. And that seva, how do you do it while living in the world? There is 3 kinds of seva. Dhan, tan, man. You serve with your material possessions. All day long you are working in the world. So that hard work that you are doing is resulting in material accruals. You offer a bit of that in the service of God. Now when we start doing that, in other words, when we are earning and then we offer a little bit of that, then slowly the consciousness will change. We will realize this work is not for my pleasure, it's not for my enjoyment, because I am now offering the fruits to God. So I am working for the pleasure of God and Guru. This change in the consciousness automatically starts happening when we offer the fruits of our work. That is the lowest kind of seva is through dhan, through material wealth. And then after that, higher is through tan, through the body. In other words, we take time out and engage the body in service. Let's say you are cleaning up the ashram, or you're making arrangements for the satsang, etc., or you're collecting bricks for the Bay Area temple, whatever. This is seva with the body. And then the highest is manasi seva. Manasi seva means in the mind you keep this desire. I want the happiness of God and Guru. That's the highest. Tat siddhyai tanu vittaja manasi sa parasmrita. But you will only reach that highest when you start the step from the lowest. Now if somebody says, those two are inconvenient. Chamdi jaye lekin damdi na jaye. People say, I can't. The first two is all right, I'll serve in the mind. Then that is hypocrisy. Because service in the mind cannot happen unless we are serving with the body and with the world as well. That is why we need to start that step from below. Okay? We should always be on the lookout. How can we serve? How can we increase our service? This is the most powerful way of cleansing our heart. Kripaluji Maharaj has gone to the extent of saying, "Sau baatan ki baat ek, dharu murli dhar dhyana." He has written 100 couplets in a book called Bhakti Shatak. Then he says, most important, "Sau baatan ki baat ek, dharu murli dhar dhyana, बढ़हवहु सेवा वासना यह सौ ज्ञान न ज्ञान." Remember Sri Krishna and increase your seva bhav, your desire to serve. This is the most important and powerful way of cleansing your heart. Why? Because ultimately we are his servants. Jivera Svarupa hoy Krishner Nityadas. The hand is the servant of the body. It's a fragment of the body. We are fragments of the Lord. So we are naturally his servants. Now you can keep analyzing Atma Gyan, I am not the body, I am the soul. It's all theoretical. But the moment you engage in genuine service, the nature of the soul manifests. And then you can see the soul by realization. Oh, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. I am that tiny soul. That is why service is so important.
Okay, that was yet another beautiful video from Swamiji highlighting what is Seva, right? Seva is an um, act of expressing mm, I mean, I don't even think the act of expressing is the right word, but uh, just like seva is an expression of love. Maybe that is how I'll put it, right? It's an expression of love, as Swamiji beautifully said. Just as the hand serves the body, the constitutional position of the soul is to serve God. So he talked about the different ways we can serve God, and starting from the lowest with the wealth, then with the body, then comes with the mind, and then we will get into the Atma Samarpan. So now, what we will do is let's get into the some of the beautiful quotes from some of the saints. And we already, most of you would have known these people. Saint Aurobindo, he said, the joy of service and the joy of inner growth through work is the sufficient recompense of the selfless worker. That is from Sri Aurobindo. And Vivekanand, Swami Vivekanand says that work for work's sake, worship for worship's sake, do good because it is good to do good. Ask no more. So be selfless. That's what Swami Vivekananda ji teaches us. And of course, Buddha, he says, we are formed and molded by our thoughts. Those whose minds are shaped by selfless thoughts give joy when they speak or act. So, this is to give us an insight into what some of our saints are talking about selflessness. And while we proceed down, these are two real life heroes. And it's amazing to hear about their act of selflessness that they are doing. So I just wanted to open it up for the audience. If anyone knows any one of them, you can raise your hand and you can share more information about them. If not, I'll try to give you. They are two real life heroes, actually. Okay, so maybe in the interest of time, let's proceed. So the first one, right? He is Officer Damon Cole. Is actually a real life super cop. But he's known so not for the reasons that we might expect. When he is out of duty, right? When he is not in the duty, Cole is traveling hundreds of miles every day. He travels to greet seriously ill children while dressed as their favorite superheroes. So, just to help children who are sick, to make them feel good, he dresses up as their superhero, sometimes Batman, sometimes Spider Man. So, whatever be the different characters, right? He dresses up and he makes the children happy. He is actually driven to 11 states, posing as Superman, Batman, and the Incredible Hulk, among others. Cole's caped crusade, while heartwarming, is also heartbreaking. He once made an 11-hour drive to see a terminally ill child. He is driven 5 hours to make a midnight appearance for a boy approaching death. Cole has also attended funerals in costumes. One especially agonizing case involved a 5-year-old named Joshua who drowned in a pool. Cole, who was on duty, had to recover the body. To honor Joshua, Cole attended his funeral, dressed as Spider Man, and purchased a matching outfit for Joshua to be buried in. So, there's nothing that he's getting, but he just does this out of pure love and, with just to make those kids feel happy. The next picture, it is of Dr. Jim Withers. He's also the I think he's a CNN superhero also. He is a practitioner of street medicine. So basically, what Dr. Jim Withers does is he treats people from the lowest part of the society. And he's been inspired by his mother, who served the needy through Meals on Wheels, and his father, who was a doctor who made house calls. Dr. Withers began tending to the homeless in 1992, and aided by a homeless man named Salos, the physician would venture into the grimmest and the grimmiest parts of Pittsburgh with dirt caked hair and clothing to search for the sick. At first, he got a lot of resistance, but later people understood his objective, and they started, getting treated from him. And Dr. Withers' campaign now has grown tremendously, and it has grown into Operation Safety Net, which actually includes a cadre of physicians, nurses, and social workers and volunteers. And since the inception, this organization has treated an estimated 10,000 homeless people, and it has also helped 1,200 of them find housing. So, two simple examples. I think there are a lot more examples like this that we can share. But what was the crux of it, right? They really wanted to serve people. In their case, they use their professions, and they kind of, served. In one case, it was a child. The other case, it was the sick people. But if you look at it, right, what is the ultimate service that we can all do? One, one is giving fish for a hungry. That is good. Giving food to a person who's hungry is great. But giving food, if you can teach him how to fish, I think that is even one more level higher. So I would say that, think about it. While there are so many levels of being selfless, whatever you do, try to see how you can do it with an element of selflessness added to it. Go back to the intention, as Swamiji says, right? How can we change our intention from self-interest or self-seeking to becoming selfless? And either we can do it in our job in profession, or if not, at least every day, let's take one thing, one moment, one act that we can do and try to make it selfless. I know we have a lot more to share, but we don't have time. So let me see if anyone would like to add anything, and then we can, if we have more time. I do want to share a story, and we do have few more quotes and slides lined up. We'll try to cover that. But before that, let me open up for interaction and see if people would like to share their inputs. And then I think at least I want to share the story, if not anything. Okay, Sunil ji, go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Sapnaji. No, this is not with regards to the current thing. The last workshop which we had about the fearlessness, I don't think I got that PPT, the presentation, the PDF file to check. Yeah, just wanted to know that.
I see. You could check your spam. Many people had said, some of the people who had not received it might have gone to the spam, but we had sent it. We'll check, Sunil ji, in case you have filled the attendance tracker. We will definitely send it again. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe. Huh. Okay. Anyone else? Yes, Ananya ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, am I audible?
Yes, go ahead, Ananya ji.
Yeah, I want to say that Maharaji says until we are not God realized, we cannot think for kripa, means we cannot think of giving something, because we always first think what we will get from it. If even if someone is donating, then he is first thinking what will if. So I want to add that the biggest, like you said, that if we feed someone food, then after 6 hours he will get angry. We will know he it will
Ananya ji,
that
I think your
and
internet
and the
is
biggest Maharaj is told that
sorry. Radhe Radhe. Ananya ji, it looks like she's having a network issue. Okay, looks like Ananya ji is having a network issue. I think the point she's trying to say is we cannot perfect a selflessness until we become God realized, which is true. But we need to work on that, right? And in fact, if we have time, we can watch the third video where Swamiji says, right from the young age, we need to try to work towards developing that attribute of selflessness. So Anshumanji's hand is up. Anshumanji, please go ahead.
Yeah, Swapnaji, very, very nice videos. And as always, I think the content is very well structured. I think just adding to what Ananya has mentioned, see, we have a long journey towards God realization. And we cannot wait to be realized. And we can always practice random acts of kindness. We can always help people and be selfless. I think one of the participants, maybe Anjana ji, she's not there in the group. She, amidst the COVID times, I just wanted to share the example. She distributed almost 500 food packets to needy people and going to the slums and different, students. So I think similarly, I think a lot of, people who are serving others, and it gives immense joy and I think thankfulness to God. And we are lucky that we have so much of opulence and wealth. If we can spread kindness, I think it will help us in progressing in the spiritual direction. Thank you.
Very, very well said, Anshumanji. Absolutely. There's so many small acts of kindness that we can do. And even like, it can be for the poor, needy. Sometimes we don't know whether we are serving, now that things have become like very, very, like more of corporate organizations and things like that. Definitely helping the poor needy is great. At the same time, I think Maharajji Swamiji once asked Maharajji, what is the best service? And if I'm not wrong, Maharajji said that distributing the knowledge, that is the ultimate service that anyone can do, because that is going to help uplift that person. It is going to help uplift that whole family. And more than anything, what is the purpose of life is to attain God realization. And if we can give the gift of divine knowledge to another soul, I think that's a great service. And especially in this age of social media and cell phone and everything is like this, right? So how can we help, how can we do that? One simple thing that maybe I would request all of you is these sessions, right? Swamiji is working like 24/7. If you have been in the sadhana shiva, you would have also seen the beautiful temple that has been beautiful university that is being constructed out there. So whatever we can help, we can provide the support. And these online sessions, he's doing it completely free of cost. And the amount of knowledge that he's sharing with each one of us, it's tremendous. And today morning, I really got goosebumps, right? There were so many people who were literally, many of them got emotional. They were telling their own transformational stories. And all this is like, completely available. So one thing that we can all together, we have like 100 plus people out here, each one of us can do is let's do our bit to spread the word. You can do your part, just bring one more person together, right? One more person each one, and I think it will be like 200 people. So next workshop, maybe next session, wherever you can, depending on people's interest, be it Gita, or if they want to learn about any of these sessions, or morning Kripalu Paddhati or meditation, whatever, I think each one of us can do one act of kindness, which is going to take 4 minutes, 5 minutes, or even less than that if you're going to do WhatsApp or make a phone call. that is one thing that I'm going to request to all of you. I know we have 7 more minutes. Great topic today. We can just go on and on. If we have time, I think we should do it, because at least I wanted to share the story. But Dr. UDG, please go ahead.
I have a very small question for you, Swapnaji.
Uh-huh.
You said distributing knowledge is the best service, if I'm saying rightly. Can you
Mm-hmm.
tell me what kind of knowledge you mean in your heart? I understand knowledge otherwise, but I want to understand through you what kind of knowledge.
Thank you for that, Dr. UDG. See, of course, uh, any knowledge is superior, right? As I said, even an education will uplift the entire family or the quality of that person's life. Basically, that's a great tool that God has bestowed to make that person self-independent, or independent to an extent. Eventually, the whole family, right? Especially, I've heard it from my grandmother, right? My dad always used to tell me that though she was not that much of educated, she literally ensured that all her children got the education, that quality of education they need. And because of which the whole family was like, at one stage, they were, they came from a very, very humble beginning. But because of the education, the whole, in fact, the entire village, the whole quality of the whole family went up. So any kind of knowledge is commendable, but I think, but specifically to the question that Swamiji asked and Maharaji answered, and even Sri Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita that the purest thing is in this world is the divine knowledge. But ultimate thing is, why are we born as this human being? What is our purpose of life? What is the goal? Who are we? That is the knowledge that we are trying, I mean, Swamiji is trying to spread based on Maharaji's teaching. And that knowledge, if anyone gets, just imagine, right? Everything else is secondary, right? The whole purpose of human life itself will be met. It will be a big tool to help achieve that. So that is the knowledge that I was referring to, Dr. Yudhiji. Okay, Sumanji, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Hello, Radhe Radhe.
Yes,
very
Sumanji.
inspiring, very inspiring sessions from your side, from JKYog and the whole team. Really, hats off. Really, it's giving very soothing and very inspiring, especially for doing this COVID time. And as you said, knowledge, yes, knowledge is a very vast subject where there is no end for it. And we have, even at the last moment of our life also, knowledge is, we cannot say we are knowledgeable. We have to gain a lot
Sorry.
and really, and really, it's very inspiring. I thank the JKYog and the whole team for giving such a good sessions, free of cost, to the whole entire community, humanity. And really, hats off. Really, Swapnaji, your session, especially coming up with your sessions, really, it's very, very, we feel very enthusiastic. And yes, it keeps our day smiling all the time. Yes, thank you so
all
much.
Swamiji's grace. He's showering so much. Thank you for those kind words, Sumanji. Yes, I mean, even the previous lesson we were talking about how beautifully Swamiji explains any of the concepts, the depth into which he goes and he explains. I think that makes it very, very special. I know we just have 3 minutes left. I do wanted to, I had one more video, but maybe what we'll do is, this topic in itself is so deep, we will save this for one more day. I'll try to share, at that time, I'll try to share both the story as well as the other videos that we had. But one thing that I wanted to share before we all wrap up, right? Just think about going back to our saints. Especially Prahlad Maharaj, right? The whole thing had happened, Narsingh Avatar has taken place. And when Narsingh Bhavan appeared before Prahlad, he has killed Hiranyakashipu, and then he asked Prahlad, ask for a boon. And Prahlad asks, I ask that I should never ask you anything in future. You are the knower of the heart. If you want me to ask, it is possible that you have detected a tinge of selfishness in my heart. I am asking you to eliminate all selfish desires from my heart. Make me completely selfless so that this disease of asking is finished forever. I never ask you for anything. So this was Prahlad's Saint Prahlad's uh, ask to Sri Krishna, who took the avatar of Narsingh Maharaj. So that is the level of perfection that we all should aim for. But for that, we cannot achieve anything overnight. Small, consistent increment progress. So, as a takeaway, maybe going back to my slides, maybe two tools we can all take as our takeaway, right? Just pay forward a random act of kindness. We have seen in this session itself, so many people, they were like, Umaji gave like 10 subscriptions for SMX. I think Nanik ji, Venkat ji, a lot of people actually volunteered and gave back. And I think there are so many acts of kindness that you can do, and please do that and try to pay forward it. And I would also say, I've been telling this before, and I will again tell this, that commit to at least 10 minutes seva, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I think that's great. Get into the habit of it. Like even 5 minutes of seva, you can do it. I think that will make a big difference. So try to see as a takeaway if we can do any of these things. And I wanted to wrap up by two quotes. This is Dr. Jim Withers. He is a CNN hero, and he says, I didn't go under bridges to save homeless people. I went there to save myself. Actually, by being selfless, by serving people, you are actually purifying yourself. And this is a beautiful quote from Swamiji. Our intention becomes pure when we shift our goal from self gratification to serving the Lord. It makes our life auspicious and successful. Once again, our intention becomes pure when we shift our goal from self gratification to serving the Lord. It makes our life auspicious and successful. So, with those thoughts, I think we can wrap up our session for today. Thank you all for joining, and we look forward. Please take your time and effort to spread the word as much as you could, and we will meet you all tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we start at 6 a.m. with Kripalu Padati session. We will meet you all then. Thank you, and Radhe.